It's a rare thing to work for this length of time with the same company, and usually the life of an actor is, the life of a company is short-lived unless you're in some long West End run. So this is rare. It's a rare privilege to spend a long time doing these masterpieces which gestate and deepen over time. And the camaraderie that's built up in the company leads you to play with much more confidence and trust than you might do if you were together for 4 weeks or 5 weeks.
But the other thing about long contracts is, I don't know about the rest of you guys, but because, for instance, we just did As You Like It just now, and we first rehearsed it and performed it for the first time last summer, and then we kind of put it away for a year and brought it back, and the show has, I think, gained so much from having just the time, the luxury of kind of revisiting something. You're a bit older, you know each other that much better, and you can just kind of find details that you didn't.
Yeah, when sometimes you do jobs and the jobs finish, and then a week or two after the job's finished, you're thinking, I could have done it that way. I could have said this that way. So this gives you the opportunity to do that.
Just being in an ensemble has always been my dream way of working, and I think because if you do a job for like 8 weeks and then it's over before you know, and there's bonuses to that, and sometimes that's extraordinary, but you just getting the chance to come in every day and try again.
Yeah, where you get to a point where in a rehearsal room you can actually say to someone, you know, look, maybe we should try something different here. You know, maybe you should think about and starting to reflect on one another's work. You know, which kind of is taboo almost in the acting world. You don't have time to sort of get to know people to that level and know that you're not going to offend them by saying, look, that doesn't work for me. Can we try something else here?
And it creates a kind of shorthand between us, which, you know, you're less inhibited in the rehearsal room because, you know, God, you've seen each other warts and all. You know, so there's less inhibition in the rehearsal room, which leads to much braver performances. You know, people push the boundaries in a way, and also, you know, got just a kind of shorthand. You can almost now sort of predict where someone's going to move, and that just creates the most incredible electric relationships on stage.
I remember feeling that it was difficult at times during rehearsals, because I think during a rehearsal period there's a certain energy and flow that happens, and you hit certain things at certain points during the rehearsal period, and you have to kind of and I think it's about immersion in something, that you sort of there's a kind of a group energy that happens, and you find things together, and when those sort of things kept being interrupted, I found that quite hard sometimes. But I like playing it in rep. I really enjoy that, and I love watching other people play stuff in rep. Like, I love seeing how different people are in different parts.
You can't indulge in a kind of fallout after a performance, because you might have to do another play, another role, even in the same day, actually, in some cases. So I've always thought that was a very privileged thing to have to do, to swap roles. I like it. I love that.
You can't help but learn from each part, because Paulina was my first one, and then the nurse came later. And what was lovely doing the nurse in Morgan Le Fay, Morte d'Arthur, was it was 9 months before we came back to The Winter's Tale again, and that was extraordinary, because it was like, oh, you just fed so much more. I can start playing, also getting to know the space and see how the space works in a different character, with different actors, and you come back to this character who you already love, or one I already love, and you kind of go, please, can I get her better? Please, can I get her more three-dimensional? And you go, yeah, I'm going there. I'm actually, this journey's working.
Yeah. Because we've been immersed in this company for, you know, now nigh on 2 years, everything starts to cross-reference everything else, you know. Everything you could, you know, all the plays, and even plays that you're not in, you know, you start to see things in them and think, actually, you know, that's kind of where Shakespeare was coming from when he was writing those two plays. That's
Laurence Olivier once said, you have to fall in love with every character you play, and it's not hard to do that with Shakespeare's characters. Even if you come on and say 4, 5, 6 lines or 600, there's usually some quality within one of those lines that will nourish you.
Yes.
I don't tend to have favourites. What I do is I have roles where I find it more difficult to be in love with it, with that role, and some take a bit longer time to fall in love with because they're difficult. I was too frightened of Lear to fall in love with a man to begin with, and now I'm just beginning to get seduced now. So I don't really have favourites, really. I just have degrees of difficulty of falling in love, really.